Well, well, well. You're not going to believe this because the energy around you right now is unlike anything you've stepped into before. There is someone specific, intentional, obsessed, digging for information on you. This is not a casual curiosity. This is not someone scrolling by your name because they were bored. This is deep digging, background pulling, document reading, question asking, trying to piece you together kind of digging. And the funniest thing about all of this is that the deeper they dig, the more unsettled they become. They expected to find someone ordinary. They expected to find someone predictable. They expected to find someone who could be played with, controlled, redirected, silenced, or used. Instead, they found gaps. Moments where you survived what should have destroyed you. Decisions you made that no one in your position should have had the clarity to make. Patterns that don't match the story they were told about you. And every new detail they uncover is causing them more panic than relief. Someone, your boss, an authority figure, someone claiming power over you, is getting exposed right now. Not by you shouting, not by you fighting, not by you demanding anything, but simply by the truth refusing to stay hidden any longer. There's paperwork, conversations, timelines, numbers and decisions that don't align. And the only way they can explain any of this is by trying to make you the problem. That was the plan. That was the strategy. Blame you, break you, remove you, then move on like nothing ever happened. But something they didn't calculate correctly was your endurance, your resilience, your insight. The part of you that doesn't fold just because someone else feels threatened by your presence. Someone is researching you because the version of you they were told about does not exist. They were told you were weak. They were told you were reactive. They were told you were reckless. They were told you were difficult. They were told you were easy to corner. They were told you were someone who would crumble if just the right pressure was applied. But none of that has happened. Instead, you did the opposite. You stood still inside yourself. You evaluated everything. You chose your responses instead of reacting impulsively. You handled everything in a way that doesn't match the file someone created about you. And now they look incompetent because nothing they predicted about you has come true. Your boss, this person who thought they had full control, is being exposed. Not by a whistleblower, not by a co-worker, not by an angry email, but by the very fact that the story they created about you is collapsing under its own weight. Someone higher than them is reviewing everything. Someone above them is asking questions they cannot answer. Someone is noticing patterns they tried to hide. And the moment they pulled up your background, your history, your records, your movements, they realized something they weren't prepared for. You're not normal. Not in the way they define normal. Not in the way they categorize people. Not in the way they expect employees or community members to behave. Your independence and intelligence are causing disruptions they weren't prepared to handle. You weren't supposed to walk away. You weren't supposed to rebuild. You weren't supposed to figure out what was happening. You weren't supposed to resist. You weren't supposed to heal. You weren't supposed to thrive. The entire setup was designed so that once you were pushed out, your life would crumble in the exact way it crumbled for every single person before you. But that didn't happen. You didn't fall apart. You didn't lose yourself. You didn't become desperate. You didn't return begging, apologizing, or accepting their false narrative. You went inward. You reorganized. You created a new path. You strengthened yourself. You refined your identity. and now they don't know what to do with that. There is something about you that they cannot read, something about you they cannot measure, something about you they cannot break. And that is what's driving them into this obsessive digging. They're looking for a flaw. They're looking for a crack. They're looking for evidence you did something wrong. They're looking for a way to justify what they tried to do to you. Because if they cannot justify it, they will be forced to answer for it. Someone is trying to gather enough information to turn the narrative back in their favor. But every page they flip, every piece of data they review, every name they search, every detail they study, paints you as someone who should have never been crossed, someone they should have respected, someone they should have supported instead of sabotaging, someone whose potential is far greater than what they attempted to box you into. You weren't meant for the position they assigned you. You weren't meant for the limitations they placed around you. You weren't meant for the treatment they tried to force onto you. You were meant for something much bigger, and the more they research you, the more embarrassed they become. Because now they're realizing something they never wanted to see. The person they tried to eliminate is the person they should have never underestimated. Someone in your workplace or authority structure is panicking. They can't sleep properly. They're replaying past actions, past conversations, past decisions, and they are connecting the dots they tried to ignore for months. You weren't the issue. The issue was their obsession with controlling you. The issue was their fear of your intelligence. The issue was their discomfort with how you refused to shrink yourself. The issue was their insecurity. And now those insecurities are being exposed. There's a group attached to this, a circle, a clique, people who all agreed on the same narrative about you, people who participated in the same attempt to undermine your confidence or reputation, people who thought they were playing a smart game by aligning with the boss, supporting their version of events, pushing their agenda. Now those same people are whispering. They're stepping back. They're distancing themselves. Because something came out, something undeniable, and now everyone is scrambling to protect themselves individually. Someone in authority is under review. Someone is being questioned. Someone is being evaluated. And they are trying to explain why everything they claimed about you does not match the evidence. They told people you were irresponsible. The records show the opposite. They told people you were hard to deal with. The interactions show the opposite. They told people you underperformed. The results show the opposite. They told people you deserved to be pushed out. The timeline shows the opposite. Every attempt they made to make you look unworthy has boomeranged. But what's even more disturbing for them is the realization that you recovered too fast. You adapted too quickly. You built too strongly. You grew too rapidly. You stepped into your purpose too confidently. They expected to see you fall apart. They expected to hear rumors about you struggling. They expected to witness you collapsing under pressure. Instead, they're watching you rise. This is why someone is trying to pull up your background at a deeper level than before. They're looking at your family line. They're looking at your upbringing. They're looking at your past jobs, past environments, past challenges. They are trying to find the source of your strength because they know they didn't give it to you. And that scares them. People like this believe power only comes from them. So when they encounter someone who carries power from within, they immediately become threatened. Someone higher than your boss is noticing the cracks in the story. Someone with actual authority is questioning the decisions that were made. Someone is checking timestamps. checking communications, checking behaviors, checking consequences. Someone is discovering that something was hidden, something was twisted, something was manipulated. There is also talk of a failed attempt, something that did not go according to plan, something that was supposed to push you into a corner but never reached you the way they intended, something someone tried to arrange behind your back, a setup, a trap, a situation meant to discredit you. It didn't work. It didn't land. You were too protected, too aware, too guided. And now the failure of that attempt is part of why they're digging deeper, because they need to cover their tracks. You're not normal to them, because you don't break the way others break. You don't fold the way others fold. You don't react the way others react. You don't lose yourself the way others lose themselves. Your calmness confuses them. Your focus frustrates them. Your ability to rebuild terrifies them. Your intuition exposes them. Your progress humiliates them. A sacrifice was planned, symbolic or strategic, something designed to ensure that you were removed so someone else could remain in power. But that sacrifice reversed. It didn't stick. It didn't take. It didn't follow the usual path. And now they're scrambling, because the chain reaction they expected is happening, just not in their direction. Instead of you losing everything, they're the ones losing credibility. Instead of you panicking, they're the ones staying up at night. Instead of you wondering what will happen next, they're the ones terrified of the next phone call, the next meeting, the next email. Someone involved in this is obsessively watching your updates, your progress, your posts, your work, your movement. They're trying to understand how you're still standing. They're trying to understand how you didn't collapse. They're trying to understand how you got ahead of them without ever knowing the full extent of what they planned. But someone else, someone at the top, is forming a new opinion of you. They're seeing you as someone who deserves respect, someone who deserves recognition, someone who wasn't treated fairly, someone who was targeted for reasons that don't make sense. And this person is about to make a decision that changes everything. Because now, as the last piece of information is being reviewed, as the final page of their investigation is being flipped, as the energy around you tightens into something that can't be ignored any longer, something begins that leads directly into what unfolds next, something they were never prepared for, something they didn't anticipate, something that shifts the entire direction of their plan without making a sound, without showing a signal, without giving them any warning to brace themselves. It starts with a realization they didn't expect. The deeper they dig into you, the more they uncover things that don't match what they assumed, patterns that don't align with their accusations, timelines that don't support their suspicions, behaviors that contradict every negative story whispered about you. And this is where their discomfort starts to grow, because the investigation they initiated to expose you is slowly, quietly, unmistakably turning into an investigation that exposes them. Your boss feels it first. That tightening in the chest, that shuffle of fear behind the eyes, that unspoken worry that perhaps triggering this entire search was the worst decision they ever made. Because instead of finding weaknesses in you, the people digging are finding cracks in them. Old decisions they hoped nobody remembered, choices they thought had been buried, moments of manipulation they assumed would never come to light. But when someone searches for one person, the light doesn't stay still. It spreads, it moves, it illuminates, and now that light is drifting in directions they don't want it to go. Their discomfort sharpens every time the investigators ask a question that hits a little too close. Every time someone mentions a date they'd rather forget. Every time someone asks for documents they didn't prepare beforehand. Because the truth is, they initiated a hunt without realizing hunters don't get to control where the trail leads. They don't get to decide what gets uncovered. They don't get to limit the truth once it's already moving. And while all of this unfolds, you remain the same, calm, steady, deliberate, collected. But this calmness of yours becomes the greatest threat in their eyes. Because they expected panic. They expected fear. They expected hesitation or slip-ups or self-doubt. But the more pressure they try to apply, the less you react. And this unsettles them deeply. Because when a person has nothing to hide, their energy doesn't scatter, it becomes sharper, focused, unshakable. And that is what they didn't anticipate. Your centeredness, your steadiness, your ability to hold ground even when others try to push you off it. Their attempts to corner you only expose how cornered they feel themselves. But here's the part that truly disrupts their confidence. The investigators begin noticing the contrast. They notice how stable you are versus how nervous your boss becomes. They notice how your answers are clear and consistent, while your boss's explanations keep changing. They notice how your behavior makes sense while theirs becomes increasingly contradictory. They may not say it out loud yet, but the shift in perception is happening. And once that shift begins, it's impossible to reverse. You can feel the tension building in the environment. The air around them grows heavier. Their eyes avoid certain directions. Their voice trembles in places where it used to sound firm. They start over-explaining things that nobody asked them to explain. They start volunteering information that wasn't requested. And worst of all, they begin checking on you more often than before, as if trying to read your thoughts, as if trying to predict your next move, as if scared you already know what they're trying to hide. But here's what they don't realize. You already sensed everything long before any of them knew what they were walking into. Your intuition picked up the shift. Your awareness decoded the undercurrents. Your instincts recognized the tension before it had a name. So when this investigation opened, you were not blindsided. You were prepared. Not because you expected an attack, but because the type of person you are forces others to reveal themselves. It forces the truth to surface. It forces hidden intentions to show their outlines through the cracks in their behavior. And as the digging continues, the people conducting it start noticing the one thing your boss hoped would stay buried, the pattern of targeting you, the subtle moves, the attempts to undermine your work, the quiet hostility in their decisions, the unexplained inconsistencies surrounding your evaluations and assignments, the sudden changes that made no logical sense. When these things start connecting into a pattern, the story shifts. The narrative flips. The questions begin to change direction. It's no longer, what is this person hiding? It becomes, why were they targeted in the first place? A question far more dangerous for your boss. They can feel the narrative slipping out of their hands, and this is where desperation starts to show itself. People in power panic in stages, and your boss is entering the second stage, the stage where they try to rewrite what happened, hoping someone will believe the version they're now inventing. They start rewriting old explanations. They start pretending decisions were made for reasons that never existed. They start portraying themselves as concerned or misinformed, rather than manipulative or threatened. But the problem is that the more they try to twist the story, the more their actions reveal their real motives. And now, the investigators aren't just looking at you. They're observing the power dynamics around you. The subtle interactions, the tension in conversations, the inconsistencies in your boss's behavior, the paper trail that doesn't support their narrative, the emotional trail that points directly to insecurity, not leadership. They're seeing the truth that your boss worked extremely hard to hide. This investigation was never about your mistakes. It was about their fear of your capabilities. The fear of someone who is smarter than they expected, more resilient than they anticipated, more aware than they hoped, more principled than they could ever emulate. And while they thought digging into you would expose something damaging, it only exposes how intimidated they've always been by you. The team digging deeper begins to notice your strengths, your work ethic, your discipline, your consistency, your clarity, your emotional steadiness, and most importantly, your refusal to attack back or retaliate. That restraint alone makes their motives look even more suspicious, because when a person is guilty, they react impulsively. But when a person is honest, their composure speaks louder than any defense they could offer. Now the attention begins to lean in your favor, not because you pushed it there, but because truth naturally gravitates toward the person who has nothing to gain by lying. And the more this truth aligns with you, the more pressure your boss feels. Their behavior becomes even more unstable. Their fear becomes even more visible. Their voice starts cracking in places where it used to sound firm. Their decisions become rushed, disorganized, inconsistent. And this inconsistency gives investigators a subtle but unmistakable signal. Something is wrong on that side, not yours. Your boss begins trying too hard. And when people try too hard, they reveal exactly what they're trying to hide. Meanwhile, you remain unmoved, not because you're ignoring what's happening, but because you already learned something powerful long ago. When someone tries to sabotage you, their downfall is built into their actions. All you have to do is remain aligned with your truth. That alignment is your protection. That steadiness is your shield. That clarity is your advantage. And slowly, the narrative shifts again. Your co-workers notice it too. They start whispering quietly to each other, not about you, but about the boss. They start questioning decisions that once seemed unquestionable. They start revisiting moments they experienced but ignored. They begin remembering things your boss said, things your boss did, things your boss implied. And now, those memories look different. Now they see the patterns. Now they see the intentions. Now they see the insecurity in your boss that they once mistook for authority. Even people who never defended you before begin rethinking their assumptions. Your name begins shifting from the one under review to the one who was unfairly targeted. Your reputation slowly rewrites itself in real time, not with your words, but with their realization. And here's where the next phase begins. The investigators start asking questions your boss isn't prepared for. Why were certain decisions made? Why did certain opportunities get blocked? Why were certain responsibilities shifted? Why were certain false narratives encouraged? These questions hit harder than anything targeted at you. Because while your answers remain consistent and clear, your boss's answers become messy, vague, defensive. Their story keeps changing. Their memory suddenly becomes uncertain. Their reasoning becomes complicated. Their explanations grow longer, but their credibility grows smaller. This is the moment where they realize the danger they're truly in. Because now the spotlight is no longer on you, it's on them. The people digging into your background begin digging into theirs. The same intensity, the same scrutiny, the same examination, and every attempt they make to redirect attention only redirects suspicion back onto themselves. And all the while, you haven't done anything except remain grounded, honest, and aligned with who you truly are. That is the part that terrifies them the most. Because a person who is honest cannot be controlled. A person who is grounded cannot be manipulated. A person who stands firm in truth cannot be taken down by lies. And now you can feel it? The shift that signals something massive is about to unfold. Not a moment of downfall for you, but a moment of exposure for them. A moment where the truth that's been buried under their decisions finally breaks through the surface. A moment where the investigation they initiated becomes the mirror they didn't expect to face. And just as this tension reaches its peak, just as they feel the walls pressing in, just as they realize the situation is spiraling beyond their control, something begins to unfold that transitions directly into the next part. Something that will change not only how people see them, but how people see you. Something that doesn't just continue the investigation, but deepens it into territory they never wanted anyone to enter. Because now the people reviewing everything don't just want answers. They want origins. They want context. They want the reason behind the decisions that led to this situation. And the moment they shift from what happened to why was this done, the floor beneath your boss begins to shake. This is the point where the entire narrative flips. Not gradually, but sharply. The way a locked door suddenly swings open when someone finds the correct pressure point. One question, one inconsistency, one mismatched detail is all it takes for the investigators to see the pattern your boss tried to bury. And it begins with something small. An email they thought nobody would revisit, a decision they made on impulse, a comment they left in writing without realizing the weight it would carry months later. That single overlooked detail becomes the thread that unravels everything they tried to disguise. And now the people reviewing the situation start requesting things your boss hoped would never be inspected. Older records, previous reports, conversations involving decisions that affected you directly. They start tracing timelines more carefully. They start comparing actions with policies. They start checking for alignment, logic, fairness. And every time they examine something connected to you, a new crack appears in your boss's story. They can feel it. They can see it in the investigators' expressions, the way their brows tighten, the way they exchange brief glances, the way their tone becomes less neutral and more analytical. Your boss tries to interpret those small cues, but each cue tells the same truth. The people reviewing this aren't buying their narrative anymore. And this realization hits them harder than anything that has happened so far. Because the one thing they needed to maintain control was belief. They needed the investigators to believe that you were the problem. They needed them to trust the story they crafted. But now that trust is slipping through their fingers. And once trust begins to fall, it falls fast. No one in a position of oversight wants to be caught supporting the wrong person. No one wants to appear negligent. No one wants to risk endorsing someone whose motives are questionable. Your boss feels their authority shrinking with every question asked. Their tone becomes defensive. Their posture stiffens. Their responses grow longer, yet explain less. They keep insisting they were just following procedure, but every supporting document contradicts the way they used that procedure. They keep insisting they were only concerned, but concern doesn't align with the pattern of actions they took. They keep insisting they were trying to help, but nothing they did reflects help, only targeting. And now, the investigators begin bringing in people who witnessed things, people your boss forgot were in the room, people who overheard comments, people who saw the unfair treatment but chose silence back then. But silence doesn't stay loyal forever. It shifts when the truth becomes safer to support than the lie. One by one, small testimonies start surfacing. Someone mentions how your boss's attitude toward you changed after you performed better than expected. Someone else mentions the way your boss overreacted to minor mistakes you didn't even make. Another recalls moments where your boss spoke negatively about you without evidence. Another remembers when they questioned one of your assignments because it didn't match your role or skill level. These recollections don't come out aggressively. They come out quietly, cautiously. But even quiet revelations have impact when they align perfectly. And now, a picture begins forming, one your boss didn't want anyone to see. A picture where you weren't the problem. A picture where they were trying to hold you back. A picture where their decisions were fueled not by professionalism, but by fear. Fear of your intelligence, fear of your influence, fear of your growth, fear of your potential to outshine them. It becomes clearer with every passing moment, and this clarity is dangerous for them. Because now the investigators aren't just reviewing what happened. They're assessing the leadership behind it. They start evaluating how often your boss has made similar decisions. They start noticing this isn't an isolated case. They start piecing together a long pattern of insecurity disguised as authority. You can sense the shift even from a distance. There's a new weight in the environment, a new attentiveness in people's eyes, a new seriousness in their voices. You are no longer being examined. You are being considered, observed, respected. Your composure has turned into undeniable proof of your integrity. Your steadiness has become your strongest defense. Your patience has become the very reason others now see you differently. And your boss knows it. They try to compensate. They try adjusting their tone, trying to appear supportive, trying to backpedal with empty statements about miscommunication or misunderstanding. But their attempts only make things worse. Because when someone has spent so long operating from ego, their sudden attempts at humility look artificial, forced, transparent. People can tell the difference between real accountability and performative concern. And your boss's attempts scream performance. Meanwhile, the investigators start discussing among themselves whether this situation hints at deeper issues in the work environment. They start reviewing leadership choices. They start questioning how many other employees were affected. And every time they ask a question, your boss feels another piece of their image collapsing. They're no longer worried about the investigation exposing you. They're terrified it will expose them completely. And this is where the real shift begins. Not in paperwork, not in meetings, but in